Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NACTV. I'm Eoin Devereux with the Banner and Press, welcoming you to this first November edition of the newspaper, just ahead of Remembrance Day. And we've got a big feature we're going to be talking about today that focuses on that very important day and memorial for those who have served. And I'm joined by a person who put in a lot of work on this feature we're going to be discussing. And by a lot, I mean all of it. Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you here this week.
Good to be here and going through everything in the paper with you this week, especially the Remembrance Day section. And you'll have to excuse me, everybody at home. I don't have my poppy with me this week, but it's there in spirit. So just bear with me on that. But very excited to go through the edition this week.
Well, to a degree, Casper, honestly, I think it can be forgiven. And it will be forgiven, I think, by most when they see the B section, 8 pages that you focused on in regards to Memorial Day. As you can see, here's the front page of it. If you want to get a better perspective on it, always remember to pick up a physical copy of the Banner and Press in 30 different communities throughout Western Manitoba, or if you can't, find it online at neepawabanner.com. There's 8 pages that you were able to put together. And just to give you that little essence of the details behind the scenes here, this wasn't put together, quote unquote, this week. This is a painstaking and very precise sort of examination of the history of Neepawa and the surrounding area. And it begins much sooner than you think it does. But walk me through this, Casper. When did this sort of development of the B section and some of these stories begin for you?
Now, that's a very good question. I feel like it starts happening earlier and earlier each and every year, I'll be honest. In previous years, I have started it kind of, I think maybe summer months previously. But this year I kind of started like right into January. It's like, okay, what do I do for Remembrance Day this year? What can I do? Is there any like important anniversaries or anything like that coming up? And there was some, but we actually had the opportunity to spotlight those in the regular sections of the paper when they came out. So just like, okay, so I won't do those. What else can I do? And so I go looking around for stuff in our archives, stuff from the Beautiful Plains Museum, of course, Beautiful Plains Archives if they have anything. Even like the Old Canada series, I look on there sometimes on the internet, and they'll occasionally have stuff that's relevant to our area, and they give me permission to use those, so I'll use those sometimes. And so this year is very much a, seeing what I can find out this year, seeing what I can pick up that maybe we haven't shared before, because I know there's a lot of stories out there that we haven't gotten to yet. I mean, there's a lot of people in the area or relatives of people in the area that have been living here for a while now that we haven't gotten to yet. And it always feels really nice for me being able to share those stories whenever they come up. It really feels like a great honor. So this year started like pretty much in January trying to figure out what I can do, and then just kind of going from there. And it kind of surprised me along the way, I'll be honest.
In what way? Like, you went into this with a certain sort of structure of thought, I'm going to focus more on the individuals within our region this year. But what you talk about, it surprised you a little bit. What was so unexpected in terms of the journey?
A few things, actually. Starting with the story that we have on the front page here on Ambrose Shearer. This was something that I actually just found completely by coincidence as I was going through the archives, not really looking for stuff specifically for Remembrance Day, but actually working on looking back for another year. And I just happened to come across this guy. It was an entry. I can't recall off the top of my head if it was just for his passing or if there was like, if it was just spotlighting him because he'd gotten a promotion in his current job there. And of course, he was a former Neepawa resident. But I just happened on it in the archives, trying to work ahead on some stuff there, as I normally do if I'm kind of between calls and whatnot on story leads. And yeah, just happened on it by chance. And I got looking at it, and it's just like, okay, it's this Nipah guy. Okay, he's an air vice marshal. And oh, he had a military career and he was decorated 13 times. I was like, wow, that is absolutely just stunning, for one. And yeah, shocking, because I didn't expect to find something like that in the old papers there. And then another surprise for me, actually, the story that we have in the center spread, that was also a very unexpected feature. That is on Albert Obi. I apologize if I mispronounced the last name there, but I think it's Obi. And this was very much by chance, especially this one. There was an individual that came into the office here. They were doing some sort of process. I won't get into the details on that because there's a little bit more of a private matter that she wanted to handle there. But basically how that turned out is one of the receptionists that was helping her at the Nipah Banner and Press, I think it was Gloria, mentioned, hey, like, some of these details on your father could be very, like, cool to have in the Remembrance Day feature if you're okay with doing that. And she was like, okay, well, I'll consider if I can see, like, a copy of the story beforehand. And so a bunch of materials got forwarded to me, and I got looking at them, Owen. Mm-hmm. And it was just absolutely stunning. Like, there was pictures, multiple different pictures from his service, actually, that we have on the pages there. And one of him that was more current, I believe it was 1994. Mm-hmm. He was holding some of his medals up for an interview with Burnaby Now, because he lived in BC for a period of time there. And yeah, I totally didn't expect it to be able to have that kind of opportunity. And, he's the father of two people that live in the Nipah area and have been for 5 to 7 years. I'd have to double check that. It's at the start of the story, though, anyway. And so those were two especially surprising stories that I got to be able to put in here, but just very especially thankful for that center spread story. I mean, mm-hmm. These features a lot of the time are largely thanks to the people that work with me so that I can put them in there. And I just don't have enough thanks to give, I don't think, for everyone that contributes to this and helps me put this out. Again, it's a huge honor.
What's kind of interesting, I find as well, is that every year there's a different perspective or a different sort of genre, whatever you want to phrase to it. This year it was about the individuals, but what I thought was very interesting, and what I think you're going to find very interesting as well, is that it is generational, in that historically World War II gets a lot of coverage in these types of things. Fortunately, there were so many stories that you covered from World War I, things that, to a degree, it's the forgotten war in a lot of ways for a lot of the world, not for Canada. The Great War, World War I, was the one where Canada, to the globe, in essence, became a nation. And that's very important to Canadians. But with that distance we're in there now, it's getting forgotten more and more. But it still comes alive and still stays alive with this type of work that you put in there. And I'm just going to say, as an individual, like, as stupid as this sounds, I'm at that age where World War documentaries start to get a lot more interesting for me. I've always been interested by World War I and just the concept of it. It was the first industrial war that we ever fought globally. And I couldn't even imagine what these young men had to deal with going through something like that. But you help to paint that. It helps to come alive in that. Going back to what you were talking about some of the individuals in the family coming in, did you find it interesting? Like, there's a few of these stories where you had personal interactions with family members, with those that knew the person or knew the sons or daughters of that person. What did that mean for you to sort of have that more personal touch, as it were?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it's really kind of hard to put to words, I think, other than saying it's really special. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just has that sort of extra touch to it that, people are people that are directly related to these individuals are, number one, trusting you with whatever they're lending you for a few minutes to get what you need and all that, and that you're going to take care of them really well, and to just share these stories in general. I mean, it's very personal stories for these people, because it's a family member of theirs, and these experiences that people went through, even if they maybe didn't go into details a whole lot with the family that are sharing their stories, it's a hard time. Like, I can't even imagine even like a fraction of everything that people that went out and did this for their countries, what all they went through. Like, of course you can read it and you'll get some sort of an idea, but you don't get the whole impact because you're not living it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's people that will be more comfortable sharing details, and that's great. But there's a lot of people that were really heavily impacted and prefer not to talk about it. I know there's, in some cases, the details of their service don't really get shared at all because they just didn't want to talk about it that much. Kind of rambling there, but I hope that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
I think it very much does. It's important. That is the entire antithesis of what Remembrance Day needs to be about. It needs to be about remembering those that went through it, that went through something we can't even envision, can't even imagine. On our worst days, we can't even imagine what they had to go through to ensure that we are where we are today. That's why it's extremely important to go out and to be a part of your local Remembrance Day ceremonies in some way, shape, or form. You think it doesn't matter? You think if you're not there, what does it matter? It matters. It matters very much so. I hope that you will. On page B7, you can find the community memorial services throughout our readership area: Neepawa, Minnedosa, Gladstone, Plumas, McCreary, Erickson, Kelwood, Brandon services in Carberry. There's so many throughout the area, but check your local sort of details and find that out. But if you can't, always remember to pick up a copy of the banner and press, and you're going to see all that information, like I said, on page B7. We hope that you will go out there and you will be a part of those events and the remembrance and significance behind them. Casper, there's so much work you put into that. Before we move on to the rest of the paper, is there anything else you want to share with the viewers and the readers before they're able to pick up their copy of the paper?
Sure, yeah. I guess one other thing I'll highlight here is, although it's not a item focusing on an individual, we do actually have on page B8 a photo of Peace Day in Minnedosa, and this was actually courtesy of the Old Canada series. And the reason I wanted to include that one in there, even though it's not focusing on an individual as the other stories do, is I felt it'd be a good reminder as to why we have Remembrance Day on the day that we do, in the months that we do, and as well, it just so happens that as of November 11th this year, the photo is going to be 107 years old. And of course, that is this right here. Do take a good look at that when you have a copy of the paper. Oh, Owen's going to show it to you. Thank you, Owen, for your hard work.
We're going to turn this into a regular feature. Owen
Yes.
gets up from a chair.
Indeed. So yeah, that's Peace Day in Minnedosa on November 11th, 1918. So I thought that was a really wonderful thing to include there, and I hope people will take some time to look at that, as well as all the individual stories too. And I hope that next year I can put something together just as meaningful.
Well, it's hard to outdo yourself. You've been doing this for several years, and it is one of the pinnacle features that we have each and every year. With all due respect to the Farmer's Advocate or anything like that, this and graduation are the two be all and end alls for us. And to a slightly lesser degree, but still to a degree, the Christmas edition as well. So you do a tremendous job on that, and it deserves to sort of have your time. The amount of time and effort that goes into it, it's worth your time to sort of look in and learn a little bit about such a significant part of our history. All right, let's shift over onto the A section. And this might not be as significant a part of our history, but it might be for the owner of the cat.
Indeed.
We were talking about this in the back room, the front page. You were out at the, what was it called again? The
pet costume contest.
Yeah,
yes.
Just a pet costume contest. And you got a bunch of pictures, it's on page 1, and it's inside the paper, of just some of these animals for Halloween. It was just unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very adorable, I must say. That was on October 29th here in Nipawin. The town of Nipawin had a little pet costume contest, as Owen mentioned. And our front page choice just so happened to be, I found out literally today, this afternoon, before recording, that on November 4th, it was officially announced that the person on the front page and the wonderful fluffy friend named Chunky is the winner of the pet costume contest. So that was a very happy coincidence there. I'm very glad that played out in my favor in that way.
It's kind of amazing, actually, now that you think about it. Last week we had the football champions on the front page, and this week we have the costume champion on the front page. It's weeks of champions here, weeks of winners in the Nipawin Banner and Press. So
it really is, yes.
Congratulations to all of them for winning as they did. We also got on the front page as well a preview story for something very important, because you're watching it right now. The annual general meeting scheduled for NACTV is coming up. If you live in Nipawin or somewhere within the surrounding area, we do hope that you will participate in that event. It's a very important gathering, sort of shaping the future of NACTV and sharing some of the details of the year that was and how the outlook is. You were able to put that one together, Casper. I forget. The years blend together for me. Did you attend last year's AGM, or was that me?
It might have been you.
It might have been
yes.
me? Okay. Yes. I do remember 1 or 2 AGMs over the years. I remember one very interesting AGM from about 6 or 7 years ago that was all sorts of interesting. But I'm not going to get into... Well, I'll get into that. Because there were some individuals that were angry with another individual, and there was fighting, well, not physical fighting, but verbal fighting. And then the individual left the meeting and immediately cut all the cables on NACTV because they were that person's cables. So they felt, well, it's my stuff, so I can do with it as I please. So it turned into a real cluster for a couple days for NACTV, where it was like, but fortunately, and they got past all that. They found some security. They found some like-minded individuals to sit on the board and the management. And they have forged ahead in such a positive and progressive way that they have really established themselves really quite well, not just in Nipawin, but throughout Manitoba, and actually in pockets throughout Canada. It's so intriguing when you hear that NACTV is viewed by people in Alberta or New Brunswick or Ontario. It sort of blows the mind to a degree. It's like, oh, wow, there's actually somebody watching right now.
Ooh.
There's somebody watching right now?
There is? Oh, boy.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. I should have worn a nicer shirt.
Straighten the ties.
Yeah. All right. Great. Now I'm paranoid. But it's very important. It's good to see sort of NACTV continue to be supported as it has been, and hopefully will continue to be supported for years to come.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always great to hear about the support the TV station is receiving from, of course, our area and beyond it. I mean, it kind of boggles the mind when you hear, oh yeah, so-and-so from like this province all the way over there has watched the show and said, oh, it's great. I'm like, oh, yep. Okay. Even if it's not this specific program, it's just like, oh, all right. Nice. Yep. People all the way out there supporting this local TV station. That's pretty cool. But yes, they are going to be having their latest AGM, of course, for the 2024-2025 season, and that is on November 24th at 7 p.m. in the Nepal Library. I hope some people show up and take that in, and maybe consider volunteering as well. There's a lot of great volunteer opportunities, I've been told, by members of the board here for a variety of different things, from videoing and editing to, well, a bunch of other stuff. So definitely take a look at that and consider supporting the station however you can.
That's right. And just maybe you could be as famous as me. And Casper. And but again, like it's interesting to sort of see this and how it goes. Obviously, the bingo is the most important and, quite honestly, the most watched program every single solitary week. We also hear very much that the Titans games, which are all broadcast on NAC TV, very popular as well. And then, further down the line, somewhere down there is Story Behind the Stories. Yeah. Although I did find it interesting. I think I shared this story before, where I've run into people. I was in Selkirk for a family event, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you're the guy from that show, aren't you?" It's like, what? Yeah, I guess. Totally out of the blue. It's just like, oh, geez, there is someone who watches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've been in like Minnesota before at some events, and people will be like, "Oh, hey, I saw you on this." I'm like, "Oh, you saw me on the TV? Okay." Yep. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
That's right. You are famous, Casper.
I guess so. Who knew?
As opposed to me, who's a little more infamous. But tomato. But again, that's our AGM coming up for NAC TV. And you can find out a little more details on page 1. It carries over to page 2 of this week's edition of the paper. All right, let's delve in a little deeper into the pages of the Neepawa Banner and Press. We got so many different pictures of trick-or-treaters and festive things that were going on over the Halloween season. There was another event that has a very Halloween festive spirit to it, but it was out on ice in the terms of the Slasher Showdown. It is the annual hockey tradition that occurs at the Yellowhead Center and is operated by the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute Tigers hockey team. And it is a huge event, and they did quite well for themselves. They didn't end up winning the weekend, but they were able to make it into the finals and play against the city team. And they still held their own, so they should be very proud of that. And everyone that's involved with it should be proud as well, because it was a well-organized and well-put-together weekend. It happened on the 31st and November 1st there. So we've got that on our sports section if you're interested. And it also goes along with one final story for the season of our high school football team. If you remember, they won the Murray Black Cup a couple weeks ago, and now they're handing out the league awards. And there are a pair of individuals who have received recognition in terms of the awards. So we have to put a congratulations out there to Kane Lapointe, who won a defensive award, and Lexian M. Yote, I apologize if I mispronounced that, Lexian, as a Rookie of the Year for the Rural Manitoba Football League. So congratulations to both of them. I was able to go out to several of the games here at home, and there were several of the games that were covered right here on NAC TV. And it was really good to see that program turn itself around, to do a complete 180 year over year and succeed as they have this year. So congratulations to them, and very much looking forward to seeing a little more work out there in the gridiron next year in 2026. So much more we could talk about, though. Really, but there's only so much time in a half hour where you can sort of go off like that. So, we're getting a signal here. I can't see it. I'm blocked by by something there. I think, was that 2 minutes? Or
5.
That was 5 minutes? Oh, we got plenty of time, man.
Oh, yeah. We can go all in.
Oh, yeah. No, we're going to go in. Well, let's go all in with one other thing then. The Hope Group Halloween Food Drive. Just before we close out. Every year, the students that are involved with the Hope Group out of the high school put together this food drive for our local food bank. They go out to all the different houses. They put the little bags out there. They say, if you're able to help, please do. And boy, do we step up. When we went to print, there was about 3,700 pounds of food that had been donated. And quite honestly, that number is out of sync now because the number's even bigger now because some of the late ones came in. It's great to see that they see the value in assisting locally like this. So I got to say kudos to the Hope Group and how they were able to do it this year.
Absolutely, yeah, they did absolutely fantastic. The Hope Group each and every year does a lot that is just very commendable. They do a lot of humanitarian work, and it's great to see that youth are continuing the Hope Group in such a way and being so enthusiastic about it. And of course, again, the community support. The stuff like this couldn't be possible without the support that they receive from people in the community for their initiatives. So very thankful to see just how well supported this continues to be.
There's so much more we could talk about this week, but that's why you got to pick up a copy of the paper. We didn't even touch on the Neepawa Titans' recent success out on the ice. We didn't even talk about a very interesting letter we received from a former counselor in a rural municipality who had something to share. We didn't even touch on the work that's going on with a new theater group within Neepawa that is moving forward and some of their expectations of putting together their productions in the near future. That's why it's always important for you to pick up a copy of the Neepawa Banner and Press. As I said, 30 different communities throughout Western Manitoba where you can go in, you can get a physical copy of the newspaper, have it in your hands, old school, just like that. You don't have to do this to read the paper. You do this. 3 years of mine school, well paid. I think that paid off, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to pick up a copy of the paper. And if you can't, that's fine. I'm not sad. I'm not angry.
Just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed. See, this is part of it as well. I assume nobody's watching. That's why I'm talking like this. So, and if I keep talking like this, nobody will be watching. But you can always find it as well online at neepawabanner.com. Always remember online at neepawabanner.com. If you have any story ideas or suggestions, we always do appreciate that as well. You can always give us a call at 476-3401. If we're not able to talk to you directly, our staff in front will be able to sort of take down the information and relay it our way, or via email at news@neepawabanner.com. That pretty much wraps it up. Casper, thank you as always. And once again, a tremendous job done on the Remembrance Day feature.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me on the show again this week. And thank you, everyone, once again for joining us.
As always, we appreciate you. We're not here unless you're here. So we'll see you next time on The Story Behind the Stories.